We are joined now by the head coach of the Union County High School Yellow Jackets, Coach Quinn Nysom. Coach, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning. How everybody doing this morning?
Doing good. Looking forward to the start of the high school football season, which is just 2 weeks away from getting official games underway. But of course, some scrimmages and stuff coming up this week. Y'all are taking part in the McDonald's Kickoff Classic, which is scheduled for Thursday up there at Union. So some big stuff there. But, Coach, we're getting ready to get in the season. Your first year at Union. Union's had some rough couple of years, just 3 wins in the last 2 seasons, and they make a change at head coach. You're the new guy. A lot of excitement there in Union around the program with the new coaching staff. And Coach, what's your feel for it right now as we're 2 weeks away?
It's a lot of excitement with the program between the players, the coaches, and the community, administration, and student body. There's a lot of support here as well. There was a change that needed to be made, and the excitement part is there. People want the Union County of old, and I intend to get that back to them. But this is a great community. It reminds me of my hometown. But this is definitely a football community. A lot of places have football programs, but they're not a football community. Union County is definitely a football community.
There's no question about it, Coach. And as you get ready to head into this season, of course, there's going to be some new personnel there on the sidelines. Tell us a little bit about some of your coaching staff that you've brought in with you, and who's going to be who we're going to see on the sidelines this year. Yes,
sir. So right now, with me being the head football coach, we have the offensive coordinator, Joshua Abrams. His resume speaks for itself. His last couple of years was at Greenville High, where he was in part on their 2 or 3 upper state appearances, along with the 2 upper state appearances at Wren High School, and then where he was with me, where we won the state championship there in 4A. He was also at Easley and Seneca High School. He was the offensive coordinator in West Virginia at a high school there. And then before that, he played at Ohio University, and he played with the Green Bay Packers and with the Argonauts with Canada. And I think he played a year in the arena, too. So there's a lot of experience, a lot of depth of knowledge he has for the offensive side of the ball for him being the OC there. We had some changes on the O-line. We had 2 previous coaches that was with us that no longer with us due to family concerns and things of that nature. But we have Wallace Clayton. He'll be our O-line coach. Our receiver coaches, he's a former player here, too. Our receiver coaches are Dennis Smith and Montre Feaster. Dennis Smith played at Gaffney High School. Then he went on to Duke, then to Marshall. Has some NFL experience with him as well. And then Montre Feaster, he was a former alum here. He played receiver here, and then he played receiver at University of South Carolina. And then at running back, we have Milton Wallace. Milton Wallace played with me and Gardner Webb at running back. He's a running back coach here. Then on the defensive side, we had our defensive coordinator, but he had to step away due to family concerns. And so right now we have Coach John Langenfeld. He had been here, I want to say, since 2007, has a great rapport with the kids, has a lot of football knowledge. Was never put in this role before, but he's put in this role now as a defensive coordinator, linebacker coach. And he's taking the full go with it. He's also our strength conditioning. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But he is the ideal defensive coordinator. He holds everybody accountable, holds the kids accountable, the coaches accountable. And he's a joy to have. I do. But then we have our corners coach, Shamar Glenn. Shamar Glenn was a former alumni from here. He actually played receiver here at Union, and then he went to South Carolina as a receiver too. But hey, we had a need on defense. We needed a corners coach, and he stepped in and has taken that role full-fledged with that one. And then for the safeties, we have Jared Davis. We call him Coach JD. He's our safeties coach. He had stops at J.L. Mann, Burns, and also a couple other places, and Bowling Springs. And he has a lot of knowledge, has a lot of depth, very young. Really, everybody on our staff is pretty young at this point. And then we have Coach Freddie Bates. Coach Freddie Bates is I call him player personnel. He helps with kind of the community activists and making sure the kids do what they're supposed to do and mentors them and things of that nature. And then we have the famous cornbread, James Barnett. He keeps everybody on their toes. I call him the CEO because I do what he tell me to do. So, but that's kind of the staff as a whole. What I wanted to do is have people from all demographics, from D1 all the way down to rec department, people that was from here, people that weren't from here, so they can gain different perspectives as far as getting to that next level, getting to that next part in this coaching profession, in this playing profession as well. So they ain't got to assume. A lot of times parents do their best to tell them what they think they should do, but now they got somebody there that they know what they should be doing. As far as they've been where they're trying to go to, they've seen those experiences. They went through the things that they're going to end up going through, enduring and going through, if they choose to go down that path. But that's the staff as a whole at this time.
A lot of
and also too, I ain't want to forget him, Chris Stanley. Chris Stanley, he was with me at Wren High School. He was a Wren Middle School coach at one point. He is now in Anderson 5 over there. And I want to say he was doing wrestling and football as well. But he is our huddle technician guy. He handles a lot of the behind the scenes work. He's a great asset to us on this staff.
A lot of good young coaches in there, except for Freddie, because Freddie's been coaching a long time. He coached me in Pee Wee when I was 12.
Really?
So that's he's been around a long time. So I've known him for a long, long time. Yeah, he coached. Well, I played for the Steelers in the Pee Wee League back when I was 12 years old, and so that's been 26 years ago.
Gotcha.
So Freddie's been around a little while. The rest of those guys, really good young coaching staff, excited about that, Coach, and I know the community is too. But when we look now at turn the page and look at some of the players this year, of course, it starts. We'll start on the offensive side of the ball, where it all starts up front. In the last few years, Union's had some size at line, and I know the numbers have struggled at all positions for the Yellow Jackets. What's the offensive line looking like this year?
Well, this year's kind of been the more the 180 version. We have a lot of depth at O-line and D-line, especially on the O-line part. We got a lot of kids who stepping up, a lot of kids who moved from D-line to O-line. Me personally, on my end, I believe in having a big offensive line. I really do, especially with us being in 3A. You're not going to see a lot of big lines. You're really not. Basically on the point of you can't do like what most schools can. You can't go out there and just get a kid. You got to get the ones you got at home. And thankfully, here in Union County, we have a lot of big young men on the offensive line. You got Jaden Gaiman, you got Jalen Vazell, you got even some of the young guys. Akeem Sims, he's a young guy. But then you got Javion Dawkins, we call him Big Heavy. You got Brandon White. You got Zacharian Jeter. You got those kind of linemen up front that'll kind of push you forward. And then Jacoby Castle and Zane Morton, they'll have some O-line roles as well, along with Jamarian Rice, J-Man. They'll have some roles on O-line, but they'll be more of a tight end and fullback set in that regard. So we got a lot of depth. We got a lot of versatility up there up front. I mean, when we did the numbers last time, we're at close to 1,300 pounds across the line. It might even be more than that. I know the last time I looked, about 1,300 pounds across the board. So there'll be a lot of excitement up front, and we stay on them about as hard as anything else. So that's what it looked like up front for us.
Coach, you're not going to get very far in football without a good quarterback. What's the quarterback situation for the Yellow Jackets?
Quarterback situation right now, we had a 3-man rotation, but Quay kind of took charge of it from this point forward. His accuracy has been great. His decision-making has been awesome from the beginning of the summer up to now. Obviously, it's a new system. Obviously, it's a new philosophy. So it was a learning curve for everybody on the team. And that position, I'm the hardest on is the quarterbacks. It's the quarterbacks and the linebackers I'm the hardest on because they got to take charge. They got to take leadership. They got to make decisions. We're not going to go to state unless we make good decisions at those departments. And he has done that. Now, behind him, we have Shiro Crosby. He's a freshman. He's coming in, has a big arm, big kid. He'll be playing some quarterback and some D-line for us as well. And then we have Cade Coker, who can come in as well and play quarterback. And then the fourth one we have in there is TJ Salter, who can come in and play quarterback as well. So there's a lot of versatility there. But the guy right now is Quay Brandon, as far as our starting quarterback. But like I said, we have different packages for the quarterback. So I believe in adding very, very strategical measures on offense and defense, even special teams. I always say I want to gain 20, 30 minutes more in the film room for another team. Now, you're going to have a lot of teams and players, and they're not going to look at film. And even if they try to look at film, we have a lot of packages. So if they're going to watch, they're going to be in there for hours. So that was kind of the plan, kind of moving forward. But that's the quarterback situation we have right now.
Coach, the skill guys, running backs, wide receivers, Union's never really been short on athletic talent at those positions. What's that looking like?
It's still the same. Not only do we have the old guys, we got the young ones too. So, we'll start at the top of that. So we got Quan Jeter. He's a very fast and electric kid. He did a lot of the kick return and played some running back last year, but he'll do more of the same. So he's like a Swiss Army knife. He'll play some running back, play some slot, play some outside receiver. He may even be in there in an H-back situation. But he'll be versatile in that right. Another kid that we got is Ashton Stewart. He actually played defense last year, and he wanted to change positions, and we saw it was best for him to change positions in the spring. And young man don't drop a ball. He knows his routes, great route runner, has great progressions in what he does. He's a good-looking kid. And we got Cade Coker. Cade Coker's a tough kid. He can do just about anything you want, and will do anything that you ask him to do for the team. He plays quarterback, plays receiver. He knows every position that's out there. That's a wonderful kid in that right. Then you got Akeem Shaw, call him AJ. He's a big kid. He played a little bit last year and had an injury towards the middle of the season. I think it might have been at the beginning of the season. But he's a big target. He will play outside and inside. Very explosive in his right. And then we have Josh Rice Brandon. He's a Shrine Bowl selected kid. He's been one of the front runners in our receiving game as well. And then for the running backs, we have Jakevius Jennings. He was with us last year. Very powerful back. I had to get his mind out of the fact of you're not gonna run by nobody, but you will run somebody over. So we got to work on you being north and south instead of east and west. So he learned to adjust with that one. We had a new young man come in. He came in with his father. His dad is the running back coach, Milton Wallace. But we got Michael Wallace, who is a very great transitional back. He can go north and south and east and west as well. But his traits more north and south as well. But he's a very powerful back in that regard. And then from that right, like I said, Quan will run some at running back. But then finally we have Noah Tucker. He's a freshman coming in, very electric, very fast. He's one of them type kids you don't see much often. So we're looking forward to his progress as moving forward. And like I mentioned earlier, we have Zane Morton who's going to be the fullback, and then J-Man at one tight end and Jacoby Couch at the other tight end.
Coach, anybody that's followed Union the last few years knows that the real problems, there have been a lot, but the real problems have been on that defensive side of the ball and the inability to stop folks defensively. What's going to be the difference on the defensive side this year, and who are some of those guys that are going to help Union get some of those stops?
The difference is going to be on this side of the ball. We're not going to have a lot of kids thinking about what they're doing. This is my first time coordinating the defense or fixing, just working with the defense. And we got a lot of experience on this side. Coaching-wise, that was the first thing I had to get there first. Because, you can have the Jimmy and Joes, but if you ain't got that John that can coach the Jimmy and Joes, you're really not going to be able to do anything at all. So that's what it's been. And I said it before, even though they ain't win but three games in the last 2 years, these group of kids, man, they're not a 1-9, 2-8 team. They're not. You just got to cultivate and coach these kids. But what you'll see is a more disciplined team, more on the fundamentals, more on the progression, more on the angles. You're going to see how these young men get to the ball, how they're going to have a little bit more energy. There are going to be a lot of different positional changes as well. We moved a lot of people around. there's going to be a lot of people playing different things from that right. But there's going to be a lot of energy, a lot of precision, a lot of technique, savvy type kids out there. A lot of kids who want to make a play. We pride ourselves in running to the football, doing what we have to do in that right.
Well, Coach, talk to me about some of those guys that are going to be the big playmakers. Give me some names on the defensive side of the ball that we're going to hear a lot.
Yes, sir. So I'm going to start at the top with that one. So the first one to come up would be Nathan Kepi, and they call him Kep. He was at our nickel, but we had a situation in our secondary there. Everybody kind of young and inexperienced, and we moved him back to safety. So he's playing our free safety. Traditionally, when people say free safety, you think he's more the deep guy. Well, I do that differently. My free safety is not the deep guy. That's my strong safety. But right now, Nathan Kemp is my free safety. He's a former all-conference player. He's very instinctive in his right as far as how he play. He makes everybody accountable in what they do. Going to be a huge playmaker for us. Next one after that, you got Reed McDade. Reed McDade played linebacker last year. He played linebacker for us this year. He'll be in our middle, anchor in the middle. He's going to be a playmaker. He's very instinctive, strong, fast, quick. He'll be able to get in there in a lot of places. I mean, he's going to be really good for us. A change that we did, or that I ended up doing, Drayshawn Mills was a outside backer. He was. But I switched him to corner. And the man's been electric since he's been over at corner. So, I mean, he's a big corner. He's fast. He runs a 4.6. Very instinctive, learning. I mean, the boy can get around and get going. The next one we did was E.J. Jeter. He played safety last year, but I moved him to corner as well. So that'll be his new position over there. He's taking that on. Very big kid, about 6'3", 180. You know, he flies around, does what he has to do in that. And then we have Mar Harris, T.O. T.O. didn't really play a lot last year, and I think he was at receiver some. But this year, he wanted to play. He put in a lot of work, gotten a whole lot better. He's our strong safety. And honestly, the man is instinctive, just never had the opportunity to get down and get going. And then the other corner, we have Mozzie Harris, and I think I'm saying his last name right, Mozzie Fain. Forgive me on that one. But his name is Mozzie. Somebody that we had moving him around a little bit, trying to find a home. He ended up finding a home at the outside backer position. That's our butt position. He'll get on the line. He'll be in the box. I mean, the man can just go. He can. The other kid we got that's at nickel is my son Grant. My son's about 6'5", 6'6", about 180. Came from Carlisle. He was homeschooled. You know, didn't know him. He showed up, said he wanted to play. Had no idea who the kid was. And he's a phenomenal athlete. You know, I'm excited to see what he do for us this season. Up front, Zane Morton, who was playing on fullback on the offensive side, will be on our defensive side playing. The other kid that we have there would be Jalen Davis. He was at guard last year. He was number 79. He'll be number 99 this year. He'll be at the nose. And then right now, we have Kamarion Brandon at the jack. We call him Fat. You know, he get after you real good. You know, he brings a lot of energy. And then the other kid we had moving in came from York, Carter Sigmund. He's going to be explosive for us in that right. And then the last one I left at the last for a reason is Joe Knox. Joe Knox is the leader for our defense. Joe Knox makes that whole train run. If Joe Knox is not there, it shows. He communicates. He's fired up. Didn't really get that role last year at all. Didn't really get pushed to be a leader. Didn't get really pushed to talk or nothing of that nature. And at this point, he talks and communicates that everything he's supposed to do. And everybody listens to Joe. Everybody respects Joe. And the one thing you will see is there's going to be a string as far as when we run the defense. So everybody has a line of where they fit, which I know from past experiences that hadn't been the case. You know, everybody wasn't fitting in the same gaps, so everybody was arm tackling. And I can't promise the fact that, you know, everything going to be full of change. But what I can guarantee is you will see a different group that's been out there before. You know, I can guarantee you this. They're going to fly around to the bar. I can guarantee you this. There'll be a lot more turnovers than they had before. But it's going to be up to the young men to kind of change the perspective of everybody what they think about. But I always told them, we don't worry about the outside views. from coaching to players. We don't worry about what nobody say. I told them, I said, don't even worry about what's being said at home, because a lot of times you're not going to get positive experiences at home. So what you worry about is the people in this room, the ones that love and care about you in this field. I said, once you worry about that, we'll be good to go from the beginning.
Coach, you get it all started with some preseason action on Thursday, the McDonald's Kickoff Classic. What else do y'all have as far as preseason stuff?
The preseason game, so we got that one this Thursday. So next week on Monday, the 12th, we go to Mid-Carolina, and we do a 3-race skirmish between them and Saluda. And then on that Thursday, we have a possible JV. Well, it's a 9th grade JV scrimmage versus Bowling Springs. We get them kids some work. Like I said, years past, they never got work like that. And so we changed the mantra with that. But they're going to get work with Bowling Springs up there. Then that Friday on the 16th, we go to Bowling Springs again. And then we go against Dorman High School. And then after that, it get game time after that one.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to a great season. You got us all pumped up and ready to go. And we can't wait for 2 weeks from now and when we're talking about real football games.
You're right. And one thing I can assure everybody, I know it's change is different. I totally get change is different. But I promise you this, the change is coming. We clean up everything on the inside of the building. We clean stuff up out there. We gutting it out. That way the good Lord can come in and do what he has to do. Because this is not ran by me. This is ran by the good Lord. The only reason I'm here is because the good Lord put me here. It wasn't myself. Nothing I did changed the landscape or anything else. There's a lot of great applicants come in for this position. But the good Lord gave me this time, and I promise to give my time and effort back into Union and give them the championships that they've been looking for, because that's our striving purpose right now.
Coach, we appreciate it. Looking forward to it, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Coach. That's Coach Quinn Nysom, head coach of the Union Yellow Jackets here on